Hello and welcome to Games from Folktales, a podcast that mixes historical research and tabletop role-playing settings. I'm your host, Timothy Ferguson. This week, Poison Maidens. Poison Maidens occur in Indian folklore, where they are called Vishakanya. They are assassins. Perhaps they are based on a real tradition of women taught to seduce and then poison the men to whom they are sent as gifts, but that seems almost entirely theoretical. In more developed form, the maidens are raised around poisonous things, or by being fed tiny amounts of poison, so that their bodily fluids become toxic. In the most dangerous forms, even their touch can kill. The story first leaps to the west in the Gesta Romanorum, which was a wildly popular collection of stories from the late 13th century, the contents of which you've seen recycled in all sorts of later authors. It seems like a worthwhile subject for a series of episodes, actually. Richard Burton worked this into a story about a woman sent to Alexander the Great, and Nigel Hawthorne, whose twice-told tales may have something to do with the name of the Ars supplement Thrice-Told Tales, used Burton as a source for his own short story, Rappaccini's Daughter, and in that story an alchemist makes his daughter, Beatrice, into a poison maiden. He then experiments on a neighbouring young man named Giovanni, giving him the same properties. The experiment seems to take the form of mere proximity. It's transmitted either merely by being in the presence of the poison maiden for an extended time, or perhaps it's caused by their walks in a garden of toxic, alchemically hybridized flowers. Beatrice knows she's a poison maiden, but not that she can transfer her curse, so she avoids contact with Giovanni. She appears to think that even the touch of her clothes can cause harm. She grabs his hand at one point to stop him touching her sister, which is what she calls a tree that sprouted at her birth. The tree is fatal, so her intervention is necessary, but her fingerprints become vivid bruises on her beau's wrist. Giovanni sends Beatrice flowers from outside the poison garden, but her breath makes them wither. Giovanni discovers he has become like Beatrice when his breath kills a spider. As a spoiler, Beatrice's nature has been so reversed that when she takes a sort of universal purgative, which is meant to remove her poisonous nature, it instead kills her rather than healing her. The poison maidens initially seem like a class of transformed human, but Beatrice, at least, appears not to be a magical creature. She may be a human, but if so, she's a companion simply because she needs a lot of virtues and flaws for her construction. We might instead suggest that Rappaccini is a mystagogue, and he invested his daughter as she grew. Giovanni's development of the curse seems to suggest this is an incorrect interpretation. A simpler alternative is that the garden that Rappaccini has created with alchemically spliced plants is a mystical space that warps people who enter it, granting the flaws required. On the blog that accompanies this podcast, there are some virtue and flaw packs for various types of poison damsel. The legendary assassin, the fatal concubine, Beatrice herself, and one which I called the retiring creature, which is Beatrice before she starts meeting the neighbours. Your saga may vary.